Hello and welcome to another case study, and this time we are looking to see how blue-black control can match up with Merfolk in modern. So we did a league with the blue-black control, and in the first game we ran into Merfolk, and it is a matchup that I think we're favored in. We'll have a look at the deck before starting. There we go. So the main deck is basically removal, card draw, and planeswalker. And some of the removal is in the form of sweepers. We have a small counter package as well with some rune snags, which in theory at least is a mana leak in the early game and a counter spell in the late game. But having 4 sweepers and 5 spot removal plus the Lilianas makes me think that we are favored in game 1. The Spreading Seas is a bit awkward since he's playing a lot of basic islands, but there are certainly some lands like the Cavern of Souls and the Mura Vaults that are beneficial of Spreading Seas, putting a Spreading Seas on. Yep, so let's have a look. This is the game. On the first game, I'll put it on play and I'll pause when there's something interesting. So the first game starts off a bit back and forth. He plays a creature, we put them down with removal. We have a certain flow to the deck, being able to filter our draw a bit while keeping his creatures at bay. And here we took an interesting decision of landing the Ashok instead of dealing with the Merfolk Lord. And this potentially could have gone badly since the Merfolk untaps land. So if he had a few more lords in hand, that could actually mean that he could kill my Ashok, but I took a chance. But we were unfortunately lacking damnation, so the Ashok was in dire straits. We'll see what happens. So he plays a second one, which means that he can untap a lot of mana. And there's the third lord, so just one more lord and we are out of it. Fortunately, he doesn't have it. And afterwards we top take a damnation. So this was a risky line that we took, but it paid off. And now we have such an advantage that he will have a hard time coming back. But this game has to go on for a long time, and we continue landing planeswalkers, dealing with his threats as best we can. Here's a Jace that will neuter his dudes, and since we've got the Jace, using the Ashok to put down monster waves was very beneficial. he lands a second one, which makes it interesting, because that means we're stuck on the defensive looking for some way of moving out of this. But our planeswalker continue generating value, and we can land a Liliana and a Visions, so the long game is working in our favor. And the Kira is interesting because she's a flyer, so she can move in and hurt our planeswalkers, and she also protects them against spot removal. So again, we are in need of a second damnation. Not in desperate need, but if we are to hold on to our advantage. So in this position, we use Ashok, of course, and then we start looking for a damnation, which we cannot find. So we land the second Jace to make his attack a little bit worse. We didn't choose the Rune Snag, obviously, because of this Cavern of Souls. And then we choose between using the Liliana for minus or plus, and we decide to plus her, which we will see turned out badly for her, since he lands a Lord, and he has Island Walk, so it's enough to kill the Liliana. But then we find another damnation, and now the game is over. I mean, we're still playing a little bit, but from this position he cannot get back. So we use damnation as spot removal, but we are just jamming. We're just going off, basically. And there he surrenders. The writing is on the wall. So there were some risky moments where we managed to find damnations off the top, but we managed to keep the planeswalkers on the board, and he just never managed to convert his creatures into real pressure. Alright, so let's have a look at game 2. Alright, welcome to the second round of this game, the second match of this game, second game of this match, I should say. And we boarded a little bit, bringing in some Barraskulls, some Kalitas, and things like that, maybe engineered explosives. And we decided to take out the Spreading Seas, which we will see was a mistake. So we keep a land, a nice hand, and we have our top end with a Grave Titan. His Spreading Seas are not that painful for us at this moment. We managed to Rune Snag a Silvergill Adept, and then we land Liliana. And at this position things are looking nice, but his Mutavault is certainly looming over there, and manlands are a pain for this deck. I mean, we do have the Spreading Seas, the Tech Edges, and the Failed Pushes, but they can certainly hurt us. So at this position we're starting to think about the end game. So when we decide to discard, we get rid of a land, even though it will make the Grave Titan slower. Yeah, it will take longer for him to come down. And of course he lands a Lord, making the Mutavault a big fucker, and we no longer can kill the Lord. And here we are just in a very poor position, because we cannot play anything, we cannot really use the Liliana, so we desperately just try and empty his hand from getting the momentum of being able to press the advantage. The Grave Titan, maybe we should have discarded that, but I think I thought about it as a way of turning the game around. And now he kills the Liliana. And we are just floundering here. Lands a second Mutavault, so the pressure is on. We find a Rune Snag, which is possibly interesting, but we are dying. But at least we see there's an opportunity to kill his Lord if he attacks with it, since it doesn't have Island Walk. But that would set us back also. But he does, and we block and trade. We're back to 4 mana, and he has 2 man lands. Another Lord that we Rune Snag. So we're trying to stabilize, and we find a Jace that can slow his man lands down. So at this point I kinda feel like things are looking up, and we even find the Pithing Needle to... This is an interesting choice. We could either Pithing Needle the Mutavault or the Ether Vial, and the Ether Vial is a few turns away, so I'm going for the Mutavaults. And then I try and play the Ancestral Visions, since I don't think he's going to be able to attack me just yet. Oh, damn it. Alright, I'll have to do it again. So moving back to the same position we were, with a Pithing Needle. Jace coming down, so here we are. So, Pithing Needling the Mutavault, so I thought. Another error. Okay, so somehow this replay doesn't work all the way. It ends up with him being able to push his to bounce the pithing needle, push his advantage enough, and even though we managed to land the Grave Titan, he finds a Master Waves with enough tokens that we cannot stop it from killing us. So we lost the second round. It was a close one. We made some decisions that maybe they were not correct, but that's what we did. So on to game 3. So welcome to game 3. We have a nice starting hand and we will push whatever. It doesn't play anything, so we leave it up, ready to play the Liliana on 3. He finds all the ether vials, so we managed to get a Liliana up, draining both our hands. We get rid of the spreading seas there to be able to play the damnation for sure. I don't know if it's correct, since Mutavaults is definitely an issue, but that's what we do. He discards the Kira again. He did that the second game as well. I don't know why he would do that. It's a good card against us. So here comes a Silver Gill Adept. So we kill one of them, drain his hand, get rid of the Liliana. And it's risky business, because now at the end of the turn a lot of things can happen. So we're I'm very reluctant to how to deal with this, but I'm hoping that the failed push can save our Liliana so we can get more value. So here he plays 2 lords and we kill the Regery. And the Dispel puts Liliana at a really precarious position, and there she goes. But it's a nice target for our damnation, and we even find a second one, so we get a lot of value. So now we're basically at top deck mode, but we have some insurance, so I start attacking, imagining that I want to finish this game somehow. Here comes some Master Waves, and at this stage I'm deciding whether or not I should just wipe the board right now while we're at a nice and healthy life total, or if we should try and race him with our tar pit and wipe the board when we get a little bit more value. I decide that this is a race and I will wait and get more value out of the damnation. So now there's a lot of back and forth. He hits us for 4, we hit him for 3. And I'm trying to evaluate each turn how much damage can he do. If he finds, you know, exactly this and that, and I'm trying to not die. So we go one more turn attacking. So I know now that if he has a Lord at the end of the turn, he'll hit us for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're still alive, but it's a risky proposition. If he has another Master Waves, for instance, this could go ugly. And there is a Harbinger, which puts us in a difficult position. And now if he has a Lord, he'll hit us for 3, 6, 8. putting us down to 2. So hopefully it's not a lord, but it is. So things are looking bad. No, it wasn't a lord. A lord came later. But now we have a nice target for our damnation. And we can even serum visions. And we find a Batterskull and a Kalidas. So we know that if things are working out, we will be able to gain that life. So we just jam that Batterskull, hoping for it to work out. And if we can just land one hit, things are beautiful. And when we attack, he vapor snags us, putting us down to 1, which is scary. But we can land the Kalitas, and if we can equip the Batterskull and attack him, we're fine. He finds a Mutavault next turn, and we Spring Sees that. And this is where he gives up. He attacks, and we even get a zombie for our troubles. So very close games, very cool games, and there were some decisions that could have been gone the other way, but all in all, I think blue-black control versus Merfolk is a cool and interesting matchup where I think we're slightly favored, but it can go either way. Alright, thanks for watching, and see you next time.